Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be giving you my Aries April 2019 horoscope forecast, part 1 of 2. And yes, this does apply and pertain to the sun, moon, and ascendant anyway. First thing up is, as far as April goes, the sun will be in Aries from the 1st until the 20th. So the first house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. At this time, well, there could be a strong concentration of energy, focus, and attention on the self, the physical body, the appearance, new beginnings, early childhood. It could be people that were prominent in one's early childhood. It could also be the outlook, perhaps, and even a grandmother, perhaps, as well. And also making first impressions too, as well. So the thing about this, given that this is Aries energy, this could be done with a lot of aggression, a lot of assertive energy. Likely, if you're making new beginnings at this time, Aries, it will be done with a lot, really a lot less procrastination and hesitation. Aries usually doesn't waste any time anyway, but it could even be more emphasized this time. And it's a lot of a creative energy as well, given that we're talking about the sun. This could be something too where these first house matters may also be done with a lot of courage and fortitude. I mean, it could be just standing up for oneself very readily without much hesitation, which Aries does anyway, but it might even be more emphasized as far as this goes, and this transit. And you're talking about also perhaps a lot of more, well, not really a lot of abundance of energy and vitality at this time, and especially perhaps creative energy. It could be doing things that are Aries related, anything that's daring, or if you're like a stunts person, or something with fire, something that's legal, obviously, of course, that you might show some creativity with, or welding, anything that could be Aries related. Could also, I mean, to keep an eye, also it might shine the light, so to speak, on an Aries physical issue, such as something with the head or the face. And remember that the sun also represents one of the eyes, depending on gender. So this could also shine light. It could also be an eye issue at this time. And given that it's Aries energy, it could be like something where maybe like it concerns fire side. I mean, and it's very fiery. It's something where you might have like a burning sensation maybe in one of the eyes at this time. It might feel like it's almost on fire. So anyway, next thing up, as far as April goes, the sun will be in Taurus from the 20th until the 30th. So the second house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. At this time, there will be a strong concentration of energy, focus, and attention on income, generated money, buying and selling, values, resources, possessions, self-worth, and self-esteem. And given that this is Taurus energy, I mean, natural sign with this is something where it could be done with a lot of persistence, a lot of stubborn, obstinate energy. It could be even especially over one's possessions, such as, like, you know, you're not touching my stuff right now. I'm gonna hold on to this no matter what you do. It could also be done with a lot of given that, again, that's Taurus energy, a lot of persistence, a lot of perseverance. Also, I mean, Taurus energy, of course, very fixed. I mean, a fixed sign, of course, a lot of intractable energy, and a lot of patience as well. And given also too, this is something too where we're looking at this again. We're talking about Taurus energy, and just done. A lot of this could be done with a lot of tenacity as well, and a lot of and really. I mean, just something where you're not, again, Taurus energy, very stubborn, could be very obstinate, but really it's very calm as well, in a very placid, very calm manner. You may be dealing with these issues, especially those of a monetary nature. And as far as whether it's accumulating possessions or making money at this time in a very methodical manner as well, and plotting in deliberate manner. So anyway, next thing up. There will be a new moon in Aries on April 5th, so the first house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. Well, at this time, well, it's very good because you're talking about new moon is about new beginnings often, and you're talking about the first house of new beginnings, so it's an ideal place, and this is something where you could start perhaps a new Aries beginning, and doing so, of course, with a lot of vigor and a lot of initiative and enterprise, given that this is Aries energy. And it could be something connected with firefighting or welding, carpentry, something with combative sports such as karate or boxing or wrestling. It could also be doing work as an EMT or a surgeon, anything that could be Aries related. And also starting new beginnings with a lot of aggressive and assertive energy at this time, which Aries generally doesn't have much of a problem with anyway, but it may be more reinforced with this energy. Now also too, and really making going about making a first impression with a lot of courage and fortitude, and maybe even starting something as far as the physical body goes at this time, with a lot of that Aries abundant and really a surfeit of energy. I think Aries and Leo can arguably be the two most energetic signs of the zodiac. So anything that Aries starts, whether it's the physical body, what have you, can be done, of course, with a lot of energy, because Aries can be very energetic, and you're talking about the new moon energy, so you're really amplifying that big time now. And also too, this could also be an issue, given that the moon in astrology can be is connected with one of the eyes depending on gender. So there could be an issue with one of the eyes at this time. And given, again, I mean, this could be, I mean, left or right eye depending on gender. And something that could be, as I talked about before, is that in Aries eye issue could be something where it might be like kind of like a fiery or kind of burning sensation, I would think, with one of the eyes. At least that's one of the possibilities, I would say. So anyway, next thing up, there will be a full moon in Libra on April 19th. So the 7th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. So at this time, well, I mean, you're talking about Libra energy in the natural house it corresponds with. So it's really, it could be a lot connected with some legal matter or relationship. Now, first off, I mean, when you're talking about a full moon in astrology, it could be something where one becomes tired, full, and exasperated at something. And it could be something where maybe someone's showing some kind of superficial charm, or being overly passive, or I wouldn't say indolent, but maybe just too relaxed, or overly ambivalent, indecisive. And it might be it could be somebody that maybe it's a significant other or a marriage partner, or someone you're in a business connection with. It could be something where you feel that also perhaps that person may be unjust, or they're not being fair, and you finally let them have it and tell them how you feel about it. This could also be some kind of legal matter with an open adversary coming to a conclusion or culmination at this time. It could also be a time too where, I mean, when you're talking about full moon in astrology, it could also be about revelations and unveilings. Now, in some cases, this could be a revelation or unveiling, perhaps, of a criminal record. I mean, because Libra energy is connected with law, criminal record connected, perhaps with a significant other or a marriage partner, even a grandmother, perhaps. It could even be somebody that might be an open adversary or a legal opponent, and getting that information might be beneficial to you, and getting, as far as the detriment to that open adversary or perhaps a legal opponent. And a lot of this, I mean, depending on aspects, I mean, this could be actually very fortuitous. I mean, if this is making, say, a sextile or trine to your natal Jupiter, it could be very lucky for having really an auspicious, perhaps a legal matter with an open enemy come to an end, or some kind of a peaceful conclusion to perhaps a relationship situation that maybe you didn't like, that might have been, whether it was contentious or what have you, could have been with a Libra, Sun, Moon, or Ascendant, or maybe one that embodies Libra-like characteristics. So, of course, a lot of this could be dependent and predicated on aspects. If this is something where a relationship scenario comes to an end, and let's say this full moon in Libra makes an adverse aspect to your natal Mars, then it could be one where it could be where the ending, you might have an ending, but it might be with more friction and more acrimony than maybe you anticipate. It could also be a time where you have perhaps a legal settlement or reconciliation or a compromise issued with the 7th house person, or even where something where you were competitive in some kind of competition that was Libra-like, that required some kind of balance, such as tennis or gymnastics or anything with balance. You might decide to put an end to it at this point in time. Hold on a moment, people. Sorry about that, I'm back. Anyway, next thing up, Mercury will be in Pisces as far as April goes, from the 1st until the 17th. So the 12th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. Now, at this time, this could be one way this could manifest perhaps as a lot of perhaps ambiguous and cryptic communications, perhaps with an aunt and uncle, people that are prominent in your private life. It could also be where Pisces siblings, because remember, as I've spoken about previously, Mercury is more than just about communications. It could be about siblings as well. It could be Pisces, Sun, Moon, or Ascendant people, or simply ones that embody Pisces-like characteristics, might drive you figuratively crazy. And also, Mercury can be about thieves. So this could be something where I mean, it could be, somebody that's a Pisces, Sun, Moon, or Ascendant, one that embodies Pisces characteristics. It could be ones that are very, that wind up really being hard to detect, given that we're talking about the 12th house, and the 12th house could be hidden, and also they could be connected with very strong secret sorrows. These could be thieves that could be very deceptive, very duplicitous, ones that put on their facade, chameleon-like. And also, too, that could be careful at this time, Aries, because deceptive and duplicitous communications may be more inclined to one's self-undoing at this point in time as well. And anyway, it could also be about writing, doing Pisces-type writings in solitude and seclusion as well. And at the same time, this could be also manifest in very mercurial people, being mercurial and deceptive people as well. Could be hidden adversaries or enemies, or even writers, perhaps Pisces-like things, such as could be poets or people that write about fantasy or fiction, people that just simply tell tall tales, perhaps. So anyway, next thing up, Mercury will be in Aries as far as April goes, from the 17th until the 30th. So the 1st house is what will be emphasized and highlighted at this time. Well, it could be a time where you're more voluble than usual, more loquacious, but with a lot of direct and forthright communications, and talking about perhaps Aries type things. It could be sports. It could be matters connected maybe with combative situations. It could also be talking with really talking about a lot of original and pioneering ideas at this time. You may have a plethora of them, and you're not afraid to articulate them and communicate about them at this time. Now, as I've talked about before, Mercury can also be about siblings. This could be about Aries siblings. They could be Aries, Sun, Moon, or Ascendant people, or ones that embody Aries characteristics. Might figure more prominently in your outlook on life, making a first impression, or perhaps even new beginnings. And new beginnings may be tied in to communications at this time. Something about writing and taking a lot of initiative and showing a lot of enterprise as far as this goes. And also, too, again, I mean, you're talking about, well, the first house is with the physical body, so it just really be careful. Mercury can be connected with the arms and the hands, so just be careful at this time, Aries, that if you're involved in some kind of combative sport, or even sports in general, or anything, any kind of work that you might do, where there might be construction, what have you, be very careful as far as your arms go and your hands if you're doing something even repetitive. I mean, I have certain issues that are, I've my moon's in Gemini. I got Uranus almost exactly conjunct my 6th house cusp. I have some nerve damage to my hands at this time, in my arms. So I mean, it's just something to be careful and to look at this time, Aries. I mean, Aries says near inexorable energy, like Leo. I think maybe not quite as much. I think Leo might have more on average, but anyway, Aries is a sign that likes to really, really often has abundant of energy, and sometimes they just don't know when to quit, and sometimes even doing anything even repetitive for them could result in some kind of injury at some point in time somewhere. So anyway, well, last but not least, Venus will be in Pisces at this time as far as April goes, from the 1st until the 20th. So the 12th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted at this time for Aries. Well, this may manifest in perhaps if you're, some cases it could be a clandestine affair with a Pisces sun, moon, or ascendant, or one that embodies Pisces-like characteristics. It could also be a time, since Venus is associated with values, you might value more altruism, self-sacrifice, and compassion toward those that are less, or showing those qualities toward those that are less fortunate than yourself, such as the impoverished, the oppressed, the homeless, and the hungry. You could be more, I mean, when Venus is in Pisces, I mean, you could be people collectively could be more, I would say, susceptible or vulnerable to financial fraud or deception. And given it's a 12th house, it could be tied into one's secret sorrows. Now, especially, I mean, if this is something where, for financial fraud and deception, especially, I mean, if it's making an adverse aspect, say, to your natal Neptune, or even if you're experiencing, let's say, transit, Neptune is making an adverse aspect to your natal Venus, your 2nd house cusp, something like that, could also reinforce or give a greater propensity for that. It could also be the enjoyment in love, or feeling like fantasizing in solitude and seclusion at this time, and also perhaps enjoying Pisces-like things by yourself. It could be playing fantasy games or playing video games, doing things, playing games of a fantastic or speculative nature. It could even be playing some kind of like going on to whatifsports.com and playing, having hypothetical simulated matchups between teams of the past. So anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment for my Aries April 2019 horoscope forecast, part 1 of 2. Stay tuned next time, where I'll be giving you my Aries April 2019 horoscope forecast, part 2 of 2. 2 things I want to get with you on before I head out. Firstly, the stars may impel but do not compel. And secondly, never isolate any single astrological element, aspect, planetary placement, position, configuration, influence, or what have you, and make an analysis of a person, astrologically speaking, based on this alone, because astrologically speaking, the person is the sum of all their components in their natal chart, and not just one. Until next time, people, stay well.